So today we're speaking with Nick Richmond, a writer and director. He works on TV and short films. And Nick, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm like you said, writer, director. Right now with TV, I'm currently actually producing, but I'm show running a show called Military Makeover with Montel on Lifetime, as well as a new series called Entrepreneur Elevator Pitch that'll be airing on NBC. But yeah, writer, director, producer, and anything behind the scenes.
Awesome. So what's your relationship with art? Because you're an artist and you're like writing is an art form, directing is an art form, videography, all of that stuff. So tell me about your relationship with that, and then also with fine art.
Art makes my world go around. There's no better way to say it. And I'm just
There's
like with
no
you.
earth without art, right? Is that the saying?
That is I believe it's yeah, and that's 100%. My life is built on art. Everything I see, everything like in the world is a painting to me. And I'm as a writer, as a director, especially with writing, like a blank page is my own canvas. That's the way I let my art out at times. Or with directing, the set is my canvas. So art is my life. Like I'd be nowhere I am today without like being able to watch a movie, without being able to watch a TV show, without being able to go to a museum, seeing something like this behind me. I see the world in color, and that's the most like important thing in my life. Like specifically with your art, like what really stands out to me is just the color in general, the pop of color, the energy that it gives off, the emotion that it gives off. Your art tells such a strong story, in such a simplistic form, if that kind of makes sense. And I just think that's just like peak art. Like that's as artsy as it gets. Like
Let's take it back to before we did the energy portrait. Sort of tell me like what was going on in your life back then. Like I know we met each other about a year ago, I'll say. So
yeah.
bring me back to that time. Like what was going on with you, like emotionally, with your career, anything you want to like share around that time.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, dude, I was in a weird place. I mean, like I wasn't at my highest emotionally. Definitely not. I mean, it was probably if I'm just being real, it's probably one of like the lowest points I'd been at. Which was strange because like my career was still going okay. My career was like almost like busier than ever at that time, but it was just like everything around me was starting to like collapse mentally for me. Whether it was like falling out with relationships or just my like just moving in that time. I very recently, like at that time, moved cross country. I moved from South Florida to Los Angeles, and it had done a number mentally on me, and it was tough. And again, with my career, it was the busiest time like in my head, and there was a lot of change going on with my career and where I was moving from position to position, and I was just at an all-time high like stress level, which I usually would like pride myself on and like how I can handle stress and how I can take on a day's work. And it got to a point where I wasn't managing stress well at all. I wasn't taking on the day well. Rather than, my alarm going off at 7 and I'd be up and ready to go by, 7:01, it would be 9 a.m. would roll around and I'm still laying in bed with my sheets over my head. Like there was
Yeah.
no question. I was like again, just being, if I could be real with myself, like I was in a depressed state of mind. Um, I'm always naturally kind of like a happy-go-lucky guy and a confident guy, and I got to a place where like my ego it had bursted. I wasn't confident in myself. I just didn't like myself. I didn't like looking in the mirror. There's too much stuff going on at once, and rather than like talking to people about it, for a long period of time, I just sheltered up. I stayed in this little hole, and I, as opposed to the color that you see behind me, everything was black and white, and I
Yeah.
lost color.
That seems like it was not a fun time. And I know a lot of people can relate to you. So there's always people to talk to when you're feeling like that, especially me. You're able to reach out at any time. Um,
Of course, man. And you were a big help, and not just again with helping out with bringing color back into my life, but no, you were a big help, man. Like you and I, like I would always like talk with you and vent with you and some of the other people that like were in our circle. But like, yeah, man, like you were a good help to just like you would just listen, and that was so sick.
awesome. Well, I'm glad I could be there for you during that time. And that kind of like brings us, you keep bringing up color. And one thing that I was curious about is, so you arrived at our house one night because I believe you're going to a comedy show.
Yeah.
And what was your kind of like initial reaction to seeing the art on the walls? Like, what was that like the first? Do you have any like initial thoughts of just like seeing the art there?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was before I had even met you. I think um I had asked. It was one of your roommates. I initially asked. The question was, who the fuck lives here? Part of my language, and I wasn't saying it in a bad way. I was saying like, what kind of talent is in this house right now? And I'm saying that with like cheesing, smiling from ear to ear. Because I thought it was so cool, man. It was so dope. Like I walked into the house, and it was like walking into a museum. There's all these colorful paintings all over the walls. There was a mannequin that was dressed from head to toe with paint. It was like it's what you want to like a house that you'd want to walk into when you're thinking about like meeting new people in
Yeah.
Los Angeles. Like it was just it's like where my head is at when I'm living in South Florida. Like, oh man, I can't wait to meet friends in LA. That's like the ideal like house to walk into. And it's just like, man, this is as artsy as it gets right here.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like a little unexpected, but also exciting at the same time.
yeah, no, dude, I was stoked, man. I walked in and immediately was just like, holy shit, like this is crazy. And I remember when I asked, I was like, oh, like whose art is this? And your roommate at the time was, oh, this is one of my roommate's art, or this is his paintings. I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And I think as soon as I met you, that was like the first thing I said was, dude, you are incredibly talented. This is sick.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And I always love hearing people's reactions to the art, so I'm glad that you had an extremely positive experience because it makes me love what I do even more, and it also gives me more fuel to keep going.
Oh man, you definitely always keep going. Your art is a gift, bro. Like your talent is a gift, and
so the whole energy portrait experience, when I first started like telling you about that, what was your initial reaction? Like, oh, I can feel your energy. I'm gonna put it on a canvas. Like, what was going through your mind when I started to explain that to you?
I didn't realize that you were such a hippie. No, it was definitely kind of like I was just like, oh man, I don't know. I'm not one with like energies and like that's not really been my MO. Yeah, I want to have good vibes and stuff, but like I've never like, studied the like theories and anything like that. So at first I was kind of just like I'm interested. I was curious, but I was also, again, I was in a weird place. I was quick to just like shut something down mentally. I was kind of just like brushing it off, just like energy portrait. Like, what is that going to be? Like, you're going to explore my energies through paint.
From the second I met you, I started exploring energy, whether I wanted to or not. That's just how it works, you know.
Yeah, I
uh,
bet.
so we ended up following through with the commission,
Yeah,
and I was excited to really like get started. And basically the energy portrait sort of doubles as like a vision board on steroids. You're familiar with vision boards, correct?
absolutely. Yeah,
So this one is more like a more unique approach to it, I believe.
yeah,
And it was very cool for me to paint your energy on the canvas. So like the first step that we did was basically we went to the store because I like to bring people along with me because I like to vibe with them and be influenced as I'm like picking the colors. Tell me about the
yeah.
experience at the store. Like what was it like witnessing all of that?
you're a machine. It's cool, man. I love watching like people do what they do best, and like that was like the first taste of that with you. Going to the store is like you can immediately start seeing like the wheels moving, the everything start like coming together with you. We sprint right to an aisle, and you start just throwing all these different colors into the basket, and like you kind of look at me, you could see that you're like kind of like trying to like read me a little bit, and I would be
Catch
like,
your aura. What colors are coming off of him?
exactly. And then I would see you turn back around and go like pick one, another, throw them in. And in my head I was like, oh, this is gonna get expensive. I'm just joking. But no, I was like, man, like with every color that you were picking, like the blues, the pinks, the purples, I was just like, oh shit. Like the first color I think you chose was blue, and I was like, all right, well, it's my favorite color. Like we're
Yeah,
on a great path here. But
yeah.
it
From
was
the
like
second sorry, I was
yeah.
always thinking blue from like the first time we started texting, and then I believe I was like, so what colors are you like? And you're like, I like some blues. I was like, yes, I was correct one with my little psychic ability that I had going on there.
No, you read it, dude. You got it right. And again, like everything that you were choosing was on point. But yeah, it was like watching a machine at work. Like you could tell like everything was clicking with you, and the whole process in general was like that. And obviously we'll talk later about like the painting, but like it just it you were on it. Like I was very confident that like you were about to make magic. And that's I think that's what I felt the most was like confidence, something I wasn't feeling like a lot in that time. I felt confident that like you were about to gift me something that like was going to be very meaningful, because you were in my head, man. Like, and again, it's that started at the store. For you, it probably started earlier, but my first like initial experience, like seeing you at work, was that moment where I saw like your brain just shift, and you went into a different
Beast
dimension.
mode. So we left the store and we actually immediately came back to my outdoor studio. And sort of the first step with the energy portraits is writing the intentions down on the blank canvas, to sort of really like encapsulate. Is that the right word? Encapsulate?
Encapsulate. I think
Okay,
that's right.
let's go with that. To
See, I'm a
like
writer. Like that's my way of confirming things. Just saying, I think
that's
that's
what
right.
I believe as I was writing, I was like, make sure I'm spelling these words correctly. So we actually set the right
Yeah.
intention here. But so I was just like kind of pulling from the stories that you've told me and what I've been feeling from you during the day, and we started to like really imprint where you wanted to go into life and like what you wanted to like really embody. How was that? Like, what words do you remember us putting down there? Did we capture really where you wanted to be in life?
Yeah, dude. You're the first thing and you wrote a couple words. I think the first thing that you wrote was a fresh start. And oh man, like I got really emotional. Like I literally like I got teary-eyed in that moment. Like it was what I needed to see in front of me. It was beautiful. Like that's what I was kind of begging for, was to have a fresh start. And that like kind of, it was in my face, and it was written out in front of me, and it was for me. So that just meant the world to me. That was like everything that I needed to see. You wrote a fresh start, and then I think on top of that, you wrote growth. Again, I was like, this is everything I need. Like this is it's so meaningful, it's so touching. And then on top of that, I believe you wrote independence, and
Yes.
that was just like the cherry on top. Which again, where I was at in life, I needed to become more independent. I needed to grow, and more importantly, I needed to be open, and to see, I needed to be open to a fresh start, and I needed to just take that initiative to to step through the doors of what a fresh start should be. And man, it was emotional. Like I you cracked the code. Like like how quickly I had like a tear roll down my face. And again, I'm not saying this just like because you're interviewing me. Like everyone everyone I've told like this experience to, everyone that like comes in like my place, and like literally within seconds, that's the first thing that they say is like, whoa, holy shit, like look at that. I immediately tell the story. I'm like, yeah, it's energy portrait. I go through what the experience was like, and again, one of the first things that I really highlight was like the first thing that was written on this canvas was a fresh start, and then he painted everything over it, and it was like it was
Yeah,
it opened
that's
it just opened me, it opened up my world, man. Like
that's
again,
awesome. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, the some of the vibes that I were getting were like it's you're really just trying to like find your footing, you know, and like you needed to really establish who you were and like find that regain that power and even more power because you obviously have an extremely bright future. So it's just like sometimes we forget how talented and how like brave we are. And it's that's what this is
yeah,
all about. It's really about try giving you like that fuel back to just live with these intentions and these manifestations every single day. And nobody would even know that they're behind the canvas if you didn't say anything about it. So it's like it could be
yeah.
it could just be for you or like you could tell people about it, you know?
Oh no, absolutely. Like it's it's totally something I probably shouldn't tell people, but to me, it's what makes it so special to me is how personable it is to me. So like I like sharing that. I like sharing like how like needed this was in my life. So I love it. And it's like you're so dead on with what you said. Like it's so easy to forget who you are. It's so easy to just like lose that confidence, and like anything can happen. Like you can be the most confident person in the world, and like one little thing can like alter your direction, and you can forget who you are for a little bit.
So tell me what was it like watching me paint your energy in such a short session? I believe it took like 30, 45 minutes. And that's kind of like what I'm trying. That's part of the experience, really, is to have you there and literally just watch me work because you are
Yeah,
majorly influencing everything that I'm doing, whether I know it or whether you know it. Just like the presence of the person being there with me is dictating like which moves I'm making. Because when I'm doing
yeah,
it, it's sort of like I don't know what's gonna happen, but you being there and me like feeling your energy of you watching me, it's just that's how the canvas behind you and the painting behind you was created. So tell me about that.
yeah. You said it took about like 30-40 minutes. I I wish it would have taken 2.5 hours. I wish it was longer. Like it
And
was
always get
beautiful.
another one.
Anytime. It was it was so uh, stress relieving. It was such a process, like and chaotic at the same time. But it was like it's a beautiful chaos. Like again, watching the colors mesh, and then like wondering where the fuck are you going with this? Like what's your next move? But again, more importantly, knowing everything that you're doing is like personalized to me, to my emotions, to where my head is at right now. And I know it is because again, you and I we had lots of conversations. We talked so much. We bonded, and then you just staring at me like you can read through my eyes. So everything was so personal. It was such a stress reliever. Like I it's like in a weird way going and getting a massage, but for your eyes, for your eyeballs, like
Yeah.
someone just like rubbing my eyeballs. Again, very weird analogy, but like that's what it felt like. I felt like it was like such a natural high. Like it was so cool to watch you work, and to watch again the colors collide, and to watch this go from blank canvas to so quickly becoming like one of the most like colorful pieces of art in my life. Like whether again that's a painting on the wall or a short film or a TV show that I'm working on. This is the most colorful piece that I got that's personalized to me. Like I loved it.
Yeah,
Like I said, it was a 30-minute process. I wish it was longer because I didn't want it to end. It was one of those kind of things.
yeah, it's the I'm remembering now the painting took a lot of different turns. And
Yeah.
it was even surprising for me some of the things that were happening because at one point I took it off of the wall and put it on the floor, and then I started like smearing it with my hands. And I'm like looking at, I was thinking I was looking at you and Will, and I was like, I've never done this before. I don't really know what's going on. But later we've kind of later we when we really discussed about like what is in front of us, there's just so many layers to your painting. And I think that's
Yeah.
like reflective of you in general too. Like one, there's like really that those things that are buried inside of you that are like starting to surface, and sometimes people
Yeah.
don't know how to really like deal with that. So it manifests in other ways, like you're saying, depression or lower self-confidence. But then as we got to like the top of it, all of these bright colors are swishing in, and it's just like very cool for me to see how it just reflects you in like with such power. And what were you expecting the outcome? Like, what were you expecting from it?
Well, from seeing your like everything else that you've done, I definitely had high expectations. Again, at first I was like, energy portrait, what is this? And then when you like explained it to me, we actually did talk about it. I was like on board. I was like, yeah, you know what? Sounds great. Let's do it. But like seeing your other work, seeing some of your other pieces and what you've done, like I was amped up. I was very excited. I knew like and again, knowing that it's personalized for you and your emotions, like it's special. It's a gift to your heart. It's a gift to your sentiment. So I I was so excited. Like I had high expectations basically going into it, and then being at the
As
store
you
and seeing
should.
the colors you're choosing, seeing everything that you're choosing thrown in the basket, like everything was clicking. And like there's like these like bright pinks or whatever you would like, hot pinks. I'm not sure if there's a specific name to it, but like the pinks that are on the canvas, that's like every little detail that's in it, like if it wasn't there, like I'd like it a little less, right? Like
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
part is like if you didn't add some of these streaks, if you didn't add some of these like just some of the things that you did, if you didn't take it off the canvas, or sorry, off the wall and flip it around, or put on the ground like you said, and start like working it with your hands, like those like little touches like that, I'd like it less and less, but I wouldn't know. Like I would love it for what it is, but I wouldn't love it even more. Like everything that you did to it was so personal that like it's just like it's a part of you at this point. Like it's a part of me. Like it was I was really excited.
So, do you feel like your energy was captured in this painting? When it's all said and done, it's on your wall. Does do you resonate with it?
uh 100%. uh yeah, it's a piece of me. Like I feel like there's so much to it. It's like what I was saying before, like it's beautiful chaos. Like there's such a mayhem to it, and that's literally what like my life is. Like my life is chaotic, but like at times a structured chaos. And that's what this is. Like it just captures all of my emotions in such a visual way. And like hanging it above like my workspace, it just brings everything to life for me. Like yeah, totally captures my energy. And
Does it serve as like a daily reminder to you that like things are, no matter how you're feeling, whether you're depressed, you're up, you're down, like does this emanate that energy and a reminder that everything's gonna be okay? Like you just gotta keep pushing. And tell me about that type of feeling when you see it.
yeah, it's definitely a motivator. Like it's a reminder and a motivator and a comfort as well. Like I want to sit in front of my computers. Like I want to come here. I don't go to a cafe anymore. That's the truth. Like I like, and maybe that's unhealthy. I don't know, but like I don't go anywhere else to
Good to
work.
get
I
out
get out.
sometimes.
it is, but
Not
like
every
for
place
me,
has an
like
energy portrait though, so
it's such a vibe to like be here. Like and again, I'm not just saying this just because like you and I are talking and it's being recorded or anything. Like it's the truth. Like I love working. I love seeing this hanging above me. It's a reminder that like it's a reminder that like all is well. Like that like don't look at things in a black and white manner. Look at things look at life in color. That's to me what like this reminds me of is the like when I found my footing again in the last year.
that's all.
And like when I've started to find joy and color again. So yeah, it is a reminder and it's a motivator and I want to get to work. And if I do stare off in space and start to daydream a little bit, it's because I'm resting back in my chair and I'm just like laser locked on this painting and I'm just like staring at the colors and I'm staring at the patterns and just the detail to it and it just it gets me it distracts me in such a good way at times like when I need to lose focus on the computer screens and on work and on scripts or whatever it is and I just need to escape for a second like I don't need to take a step back. I don't need to play video games or go texting or sitting on Instagram. I could just sit back in my chair and just get lost in color and
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I've
really
been begging
cool.
for.
That's cool. That's the first time someone said that to me, and it kind of resonates because instead of like, so daydreaming, you can go, or like thoughts in general, like they can either go a bad direction or a good one. So you having this above your space, it kind of like doesn't allow for anything negative to enter if you're like literally just like looking at this thing that is emanating everything that you sort of stand for. And that's pretty awesome. And I'm sure that you find like different patterns and things literally every time you look at it, because that's like one thing that I'm always excited
Yeah.
about is just like, oh shit, I've never seen how that pink touched this purple or this platinum, like how it starts to look like a bird or something. There's always something new
Yeah.
to discover inside of the art.
I love seeing my story painted in front of me.
So in the beginning, we talked about sort of where you were before we started this process. So tell me a little bit about like where you're at now, like through all of this work that we've done together, but also you've done a lot of work on your own. So what's life like now after your energy portrait, after you've kind of been just like living and healing? Tell me about
Like anyone, like everyone, I'm of course like a work in progress still. But like I've seen the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I've gotten out of this dark place I was in. I've battled the depression. Like no one's like fully healed. There's still dark days. There's still like, days that weigh on me, but ultimately like I'm in such a good place and like honestly I owe it to like you and to this fucking gift behind me. Like this was my fresh start. Like this was like the pivoting like the the 180 moment that like where it like really like hit me where it's like why am I beating myself up so much? Why am I so like why am I lacking so much confidence? Well, like where's my ego at? Where is where's Nick Richmond? Like where am I?
yeah, where
And
were you?
was
We're happy you're back
exactly,
now.
at the end of the day, I can sit back, relax, and look at the piece of art that like helped pivot all of this for me. And it's the truth. And again, I keep emphasizing on the fact that I'm not just saying this because it's being recorded. Like I truly feel this, man. Like I've like I give you I owe you a massive thank you constantly because like you helped me find the piece of joy that I was looking for like back in my life and you helped put me at ease a little bit. I was so strung up and I was so anxious and I was letting my anxiety take over and now it's like you know I'm kicking ass with my job like I was before. I just wasn't seeing it. I was letting the stress of the job act like I'm not like where I want to be at in life. And that's not the truth. Like I'm
Yeah,
in a great place. I've got a great job. I've got great friends. I'm living in the heart of Los Angeles.
you
Like,
are in a
and
good
you know,
spot.
it's it's amazing. Like life is great. Like I'm glad I'm seeing like things like I should be.
Yeah. To,
Color
to
again.
to touch on one thing that you just said, you mentioned, and you also mentioned before, like how you felt like your eyes were being like kind of like scrubbed when you were like watching me. So I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like part of the process also is like it's kind of like a cleanse for you, your brain, and your aura in general. Like as we're going through this process, you know. So like
Yeah.
as I'm like I'm going at it with color, but I'm also like you're also letting go of a lot of stuff that you may not even be aware of at the time, you know. So like we're painting and we're also clearing away all those blockages and all those like internal like beliefs that are like anchored in you and maybe it really hard to get away. So that's it's awesome to hear about your growth, and I'm super excited that I was able to really like help you on that journey.
Like it was a cleanse, and it like yeah, can't thank you enough.
So it was definitely worth your investment then, right?
100%,
Awesome. And what is
300,000%.
and what is what's like the main reaction you usually get when somebody sees it for the first time? I know you spoke on this a little bit, but like just give me
Yeah.
like a few lines that people say.
It's definitely it's the first reaction. Like when people walk through my door, that's the first thing that like catches people's eye. And it's always, and it's exactly what I said when I walked into your house for the first time. It's who did that? Like that's always the first question is who painted that? Or where did you get that from? And when I tell people that this was personalized for me, and I said I blow you up. Yeah, it's awesome because I get to plug my friend, but like it's a true story that I get to like always like present to people because it's the first thing people say when they walk into my place. And it's not like this is like right out in the open. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of hidden in the corner, but when you first walk in, like it immediately like grabs your eye. Like it's an attention grabber. Like it gets your attention. It's so that's definitely like the first thing people say is like, holy shit, who did that? And then we talk about it for at least 10 minutes.
nice. And what would you say to somebody who's like sort of thinking about getting an energy portrait of their own? Like what would you tell them after your experience?
Do it. Get it. We all struggling emotionally. We're all, dealing with our own, emotional battles, our own, you know, skeletons. Everyone's got some sort of issue that's going on, and it's good to just like release. It's good to open up. It's good to see a process, see something that's out of your control, but also somehow like you've helped control and steer it because it's you. This is me. So go for it. Like have fun with it, and like don't be closed-minded to it like I like originally was, where I was like an energy portrait. Like no, like this is a form of therapy. Like
It
it's
is. It's a healing. It's like a healing
it
modality.
is.
It's
It is.
it's
It
super
definitely is.
transformative.
And
And
it stays with you, and that's the amazing thing, like yeah, if someone really needs help, go seek therapy, go talk to a therapist. Do this as well, because
yeah,
when you leave the therapist's office, you're not seeing them again until next week. You're not seeing them again until like a few days from now. I get to sit here
yeah,
all day, my
that's
former
true.
therapist in front of me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like this is what helped cleanse me, and I have it 24/7.
Yes, and it's probably more special than you just going to find like a random painting at some gallery or something and taking it home, as this like really holds
Yeah.
a purpose for you. So that's really awesome,
And
man.
like I keep saying, there's a piece of me, the whole thing is a piece of
Yeah,
me. So
it's not just a painting; it's
part of me.
literally an extension of your soul and your energy. And
Exactly.
like that's like it's really awesome to hear you say all these things.
the second you wrote A Fresh Start, if you turned around in that moment, I literally, dude,
I
tear
saw,
tear
yeah, I
right down.
saw you towards the end. I could see that the emotion really hit you. So it's just
Yeah,
it's been really awesome to see the whole experience, and I'm really excited to see what you do next with everything that you've got going on. So like, what's next for you? Tell me a little bit about like what you're working on, and also tell everybody where they can like look you up or any type of events or film that you may have coming out soon that they need to watch out for.
absolutely. First of all, look me up on Instagram, Nick Richmond, NNICKRICHMANN as well at the end there.
I'll link it below
And
in the description.
link it below. But yeah, look, get me on Instagram, and so there's a ton of exciting things ahead, and especially career wise. Again, I got this big short film coming up called Sunflower that we got geared up and ready to submit to the festival. So we're ready to hit the festival circuit pretty hard.
Yeah.
This will be my third short film. The last one I did, we did pretty decent with the festivals, won a couple awards, but nothing major. This one, I'm looking at, like, we went big. It's super ambitious. I'm so excited for it. And then other than that, just again the TV shows. The new show I mentioned, Entrepreneur Elevator Pitch. Look out for it. Not this fall, unfortunately, but next fall it'll be coming to a living room TV near you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for all of your insight on your experience. It's been awesome speaking to you.
Absolutely, man. And again, thank you for helping to guide this little, this journey for me on the second half of this year. I really needed, and you've helped, bring a little light back into my life. So I
Splash of
appreciate you, man.
color.
Thank you for your art. You're a fucking damn good artist, dude. Like,
Thank
you're
you.
amazing, man. You're so talented. Appreciate you.